Yasha Allah, Yahweh, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Ahad, Shemai, Yasha Allah, Yahweh, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Ahad, Shemai, Yasha Allah, Yahweh, Allahayanawa, Yahweh, Ahad. All right. Barakat Yahweh, Barakat Yahweh Shai, Barakat Yahweh, Barakat Yahweh Shai, Barakat Yahweh, Barakat Yahweh Shai, Bahashur Hakudash. I want to give double honor to our elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone well. Peace and blessings, health and wellness to the house of David the elect. As a high spirit wind Judah. And today I want to go into a live stream entitled Overcoming the False Realities in Our Mind is a Part of Overcoming the Flesh. Overcoming the false realities in our minds is a part of overcoming the flesh. All right. And Yahweh Shai is here through the Comforter, and He's here through the Spirit, all right, to guide us through these obstacles that we have to overcome, all right, before we enter into the kingdom, all right. And those overcoming those obstacles is basically going to result in us being fearless when it comes to death. The greatest form, the highest level of overcoming the flesh is overcoming the fear of death, right? Because the nature of your flesh is to self-preserve. Your flesh has a self-preservation nature to it, all right? Because the Most High hardwired you to survive, all right? So you got the fight, flight, drive. You got all these type of things. But one of the things that came with the flesh, all right, and as a matter of fact, uh, if there's enough brothers on the comment board, I would like a brother to get Wisdom of Solomon 9 around the 13th verse. All right, and it says in Romans 7 that I know within me that is in my flesh dwelleth no good thing. Therefore, if you spend enough time by yourself, all right, you spend enough time by yourself, you start thinking idle thoughts. You spend too much time by yourself, your impulses start going in other directions. All right, now you find yourself working against yourself. All right, you start feeding into the cravings of your flesh. Then your spirit feels convicted. All right, whatever it may be, because the flesh by default is set up to be contrary to the spirit. As it says in the scriptures, the spirit against the flesh and the flesh against the spirit. All right? So those are one of the dualities that the Most High created. Because it says in the book of Sirach that the Most High created two and everything one against another. So there's always dualities. There's always a contrary force, north and south pole, east and west coast, good, bad. But also you have your spirit and your flesh. But what I've learned in this path, in this journey, the part of your flesh is to create negative scenarios, all right, that keeps you from elevating. And the easy way usually is detrimental, but the harder way is usually a mentally harder way. But whatever it may be, the flesh conjures up a what if scenario. It creates fear in your mind, or it creates fear in your mind, and it makes you cower away. But if you cower away, all right, because of that fear in your mind, you will never grow. All right, but let me get the scripture that the brothers have gotten. All right, and the water for tapping in. All right, all right. Let me see. Oh, first I'm gonna get First Peter 4:12. Beloved, thinking not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you. All right, as though some strange thing happened unto you, but rejoice inasmuch as you are partaker of Hamashiach's suffering, that when his glory shall be revealed, you may be glad also with exceeding joy. Wisdom of Solomon 9:13. For what man for what man is he that can know the counsel of Yahweh, or or who can think what the will of the Lord is? For the thoughts of mortal man are miserable. So your thoughts are miserable, man. All right, there's a world inside of your head that oftentimes is inconsistent with reality. All right, but that's part of your obstacles. That's part of your chain of death, your chain of darkness. A lot. It's not just the flesh and the workings of the flesh is contrary to the will of Yahweh Shai. But part of the workings of the flesh is those idle scenarios that you have in your mind. All right, and when it comes to pursuing certain things, you have these what if scenarios. All right, part of overcoming your flesh, all right, is overcoming your mind. All right, it says, "For the thoughts of mortal man are miserable, and our devices are but uncertain." All right, for the corruptible body presseth down the soul, And the earthen tabernacle weigheth down the mind that museth upon many things. All right? Verse 16. And hardly do we guess aright at the things that are upon earth, and with labor do we find the things that are before us. But the things that are in heaven, who have searched it out. All right? And that's pretty much the point, man. All right? Your flesh weighs down your mind. All right? But your mind has its own programming, and it's contrary to Yahweh Shema Shai. And one thing that I've noticed is that there are simulations in your everyday life that's designed within this matrix to pull you away from your power, to pull you away from your path in this truth. All right, and if you don't feed your spirit, if you don't feed your mind with Yahweh Shema Shai, whether it's doing the works or reading, all right, your mind has its automatic programming. All right, but your mind creates its own reality, and that's really a demon. All right, a brother could say something, all right, and in your mind, you might take it as the wrong way, and it's a negative seed that's being hatched. Now you're looking at a brother in a certain light. Now you got a false reality in your mind. All right, you can have brothers making an effort to tell you something, correct you, but in your reality, they're wrong and you're right. In the reality inside of your mind, all right, you could go and pursue certain things, all right, in the world, or gonna take on certain challenges, but your mind to create these fears, and you can actually feel it in your chest. These worst case scenarios every time you go out to pursue something, man. All right, we have to overcome that, because ultimately, pursuant to Revelations 2:10, the devil shall cast some of you into the prison. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. All right, and brothers lighten up the comment board. All right, this is Sirach 33:15. So look upon all the works of the Most High. It says, so look upon all the works of the Most High, and there are two and two, one against another. So within the Most High's universe, He created duality. So everything has a contrary existence, the spirit and the flesh. And the longer you go without feeding your spirit, the more your flesh takes over, man. See, the 2/3 of our people, we call it black culture, but really it's just flesh culture. All right, it's the culture of living out after the flesh, the culture of your body being like to a house that lacks the habitation of Yahweh Shema Shai. All right, these dry wells. All right, 1 Corinthians 10:13. They have no temptation taking you, but such as is common to man. But Yahweh is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able, but with the temptation also make a way to escape, that you may be able to bear it. It's a common temptation to have these false realities inside your head. But part of your journey is overcoming those fears that those false realities conjure up in your mind. All right? You might be a handsome brother, right? Most Israelite men are, right? But in your mind, you might feel like you're ugly, but it's a false reality. And it's actually a demon that wants you to feel that way. Same thing with a sister, all right? Same thing, a demon might have you thinking, I went off. I'm not a man of Yahweh Shema Shai. I ain't shit. All right? He's actually plagued, man. And the way you know it's a plague, because you could comfort that brother, but then the next day he's back to it, like, hey, brother, I just don't feel worthy. All right? He has a false reality in his mind. That's why it also says in Sirach, give not thy mind over to heaviness. Okay? All right? Let me see. Sirach 14:2. Blessed is Blessed is he whose conscience have not condemned him, and who is not fallen from his hope in the Lord. Proverbs 3:7. Be not wise in thy own eyes, fear Yahweh and depart from evil. All right? Proverbs 3:5. Trust in Yahweh with all thy heart, and lean not unto thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. All right? So look, that's another, and that's a part of your path of humility, is understand your natural self is wrong, or you can have an ego, which is part of that false reality into your mind. That when the movie plays back over your mind, you not only are you the main character, which creates a form of narcissism, but anytime you have a dispute between you and somebody else, when you play the movie back over in your mind just plays out the part where you're the victim. All right, it's a false reality in our minds. All right. Jeremiah 17:9. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? What is the heart? Is the mind. All right. But your mind is capable of is constructing realities that's inconsistent with the reality around us, man. Sometimes we'll just be inside our head too much, man. All right? Galatians 6 and 8. For he that soweth to his flesh shall, so like I read that again. Galatians 6 and 8. For he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption. But he that soweth to the spirit shall of the spirit reap life everlasting. All right? 2nd Ezra 14:14. Let go from thee mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, put off now the weak nature. Yeah, that what if, what if they drag me out my house? What if this? What if that? It's natural, but natural goes back to nature. That's your human nature. But one thing that makes us men of Yahweh Shema Shai is that we know how to subdue our human nature for the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai. Be still and know that I am. He didn't put that scripture there for nothing. All right, it says, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste to thee, and haste thee to flee from these times, because times are going to get rough. We have to make sure that we're disciplined in the spirit, so we won't react off our nature and go into self-preservation mode. Psalm 55:22, cast thy burden upon Yahweh, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. All right, Proverbs 16:3. Commit thy works unto Yahweh, and thy thoughts shall be established. All right? So we pour into the spirit. All right? We're stronger, and we can resist temptations more. We can rebuke the thoughts in our minds as opposed to being controlled by them. All right? But another thing of power is to realize that in your everyday walk, when you experience conflicts, you experience trials, that you're gonna be when you meet it head on, you're gonna be faced with fear in your chest and fear in your mind. All right, but that's just the false movie that your flesh is playing. All right, and we're here to overcome that. Part against spiritual powers is the first phase is conquering the flesh. All right, even anything that's greatly beneficial to you, you're probably gonna meet a demon in your mind that's gonna make it seem like it's impossible to obtain, or something bad is gonna happen to you. Anytime you get to elevate, anytime you get to step out your comfort zone, it's gonna be demons. That's how you know that America was a plantation. Because when slavery ended, Jake down south is gonna move up north. But people would tell Jake, you move up north, you're gonna be sleeping in a trash can, right? And if you believe that, then that means you never went to experience a better life. Just like in America, that Esau wanted to keep you on a plantation. Guess what? Your mind is like a devil, all right? And they want to keep you in this mental plantation of weakness and powerless. As it says in 1 Timothy 1 and 7, Yahweh have not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and a sound mind. All right? But when you overcome obstacles, when you overcome these fears in your mind and these false realities in your mind, when you overcome that, you get closer to something called power. All right? One form of power is self-control. Not only can you control your natural devices, such as, your drives and your impulses, but also you can control those false realities that play out in your mind before you pursue something, man. All right? And when you control your mind, that's the first form of power. Conquering your body, conquering your mind, conquering your nature, that's a form of power, man. All right? You have a powerful mind. And that's a king mentality. A king has a powerful mind. All right? But that's pretty much it. I'm going to draw this live stream to a closing. All right? The Water Brothers for tuning in. The Water Brothers for your participation. And ultimately, the Water Yahweh Shema Shai for giving us this spirit to teach, man. Well, with that, I hope you brothers and sisters were edified. Till the next time, Shalom.